Hi, I'm Brenda Workman. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm so glad you stopped by. If you haven't liked and subscribed to this channel yet, I would love for you to do that so that it'll reach far out even to those other people who might benefit from these videos. So I've shared with you before that I'm a plant-based eater. I had to adjust my way of eating following my doctor's orders. And so I've had to practically make this work in my life. And one of the areas that I had to learn was what kind of breakfasts can I eat as a plant-based eater. Obviously, I can have things like rolled oats. That's pretty typical. I could have avocado toast with tomato slices on top. I could certainly have a veggie sandwich, maybe with a side of fruit. There's lots of different things that I could have, but every once in a while I like something different. So I thought I'd share 3 of my favorite breakfasts with you that I kind of switch in and out of my mornings just to give it a little bit of variety. So this morning I made in my Instapot some oat groats. Oat groats are actually the kernel. This is a jar of oat groats, so it's the kernel of the oats. So it's what oats start with, and then later they may still cut them or they may roll them, and you even get all the way down to quick cooking oats that are cut up even more, and maybe even those little packages are even more processed. But I like the texture of oat groats. And so I just put them in my Instapot and I cook them for 25 minutes. And then I leave the pressure on for about 15 minutes to give it the texture that I want. I put 2 cups of oat groats in there, 4.5 cups of water, and then build it up to pressure, let it cook 25 minutes, turn it off, let the pressure stay on for another 15 minutes. You can experiment with it to see what kind of consistency or what kind of texture you like. But I'll show you, I'm gonna actually try to show you what is in my Instapot. So these are cooked oat groats, and I'm going to scoop some into my bowl so you can see it a little bit better. So the extra oat groats, I just store them in my fridge, and that way I have oat groats later in the week. So these are my oat groats, and what might I add to these? I might add some fruit on top. And then I probably would put a lot more berries than this, but I love berries in the morning with my oat groats. And then for sweetener, if I need a sweetener, I could add date syrup. I could add maple syrup. I could add agave, whatever your sweetener of choice is. But I love oat groats. I just like the texture. I think they're hearty. And again, I put the extras in the fridge so that I can use those later in the week. When I want to. You could even put them in, my favorite is canning jars. You could even put them in individual canning jars and just grab it out, warm it up, add some berries, maybe even add a few walnuts if you want to, and a little sweetener if you want, and you've got your breakfast quickly. The next thing I want to make for you is some whole wheat pancakes. This is one of my favorite recipes, and I want you to stick around to the end of the video because I have a wheat grinder that grinds wheat into flour. I've had it for over 20 years, and so when I'm going to make a recipe, I like to use freshly ground wheat berries. So this is what the wheat berries look like. This happens to be Prairie Gold wheat berries, but I buy them usually in a 50-pound bag, and I keep them in a cool, dark place, and I'll show you at the end of the video my grinder, how I grind it into flour. So once I grind it, it looks like this, and it's usually warm when it comes out of the grinder. But I've already measured in my, I'll move this so you can see, in my bowl here, I've already measured out 1.25 cups. This is gonna make about 4 pancakes, so this would be for me. If I was going to make this for, more folks, the family, whatever, you might want to double the recipe. But I've already put 1.25 cups of whole wheat flour in here. Now I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of baking powder. So let me go ahead and add that. I'm gonna add a half a teaspoon of salt. And I'm actually gonna guess at this. I do that a lot. And then this is kind of an unusual ingredient to put in pancakes, but I love it. And that is, I'm gonna put in a tablespoon of cinnamon. And to me, that gives these pancakes such a good flavor. So I'm putting a tablespoon of cinnamon in there. Now, when it comes to the liquid part, and I'm gonna go ahead and kind of stir this up a little bit. I've got my cinnamon, my salt, my baking powder, and my flour. So I'm gonna now put in the liquid, which is gonna be a cup of plant milk. I happen to use this brand just because it only has soybeans and water in it. And I like things that don't have a lot of ingredients, but whatever plant milk is your choice, almond milk, you know, oat milk, maybe you make your own. That's great. So I'm putting a cup of plant milk in there. I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of applesauce. And I buy these little containers of applesauce for this very reason. I used to buy the jars, and I don't typically eat applesauce. I just kind of use it in my baking, and it would go bad. So I bought these little containers. They're great for grandkids when they come over as well. But I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of this applesauce, and it's unsweetened applesauce. And again, I just buy it, it's like a 6-pack, and that way I keep it for my baking. Now, another thing that I did prior to getting started here was I went ahead and mixed ground flaxseed. Here I am with my jars again. I buy flax seeds that are whole. And then every so often I put them in my coffee grinder and I grind them up into meal. So it's ground flax seed. I keep it in the fridge typically. When I use it up, then I grind some more just because I don't want it to go bad, and I want it to be as fresh as possible. So I have this ground flaxseed that I got out of my fridge. I mixed it, a tablespoon of that with 2 tablespoons of water, and this is gonna be my egg replacement for my pancakes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my flax mixture in there. Again, it was a tablespoon of ground flaxseed and 2 tablespoons of water. And then I'm gonna put a little sweetener in. So I'm gonna use agave, but you could certainly use date syrup, or you could use date sugar, which is just ground up dates if you want to. But I'm gonna guess on this, and I'm gonna put about a tablespoon of agave in here, just to give it a little sweetness. And if you wanna leave that out, that's fine too. So I have my flour, my milk, my agave, my flax mixture. I have my applesauce, my baking powder, my salt, and my cinnamon. And this is the consistency here, if you can see this, of my mixture. It's rather thick, and it'll get a little thicker. If you need to thin it out, you certainly could just add a little more plant milk to it and thin it out a little bit if you need to. But I cooked that in my pan, and if you have a pan that pancakes are gonna stick in there, then feel free to spray it lightly with some type of cooking spray, maybe avocado spray or some type of spray, lightly, and then cook your pancakes. Some people have pans that are non-stick, and that's great. Then you don't have to use any cooking spray at all. But this is what I would, how I would mix this up, cook it in my pan, and then I'm gonna show you the finished product. So that made 4 whole wheat pancakes. And this is what they look like. Delicious. And I'm actually going to put, I would eat probably 2 of these for breakfast, and then put the other 2 in a Ziploc bag or a sealed container in the fridge and have it tomorrow morning or even the next day. You could even put it in your toaster oven to warm it up if you want to. But I'm gonna eat 2 of the pancakes. That would be a typical breakfast for me. Now what might I put on my pancakes? I definitely, I'm losing my my fruit here. So I would put berries again, because I love berries, especially in the morning. I don't know, berries are good for you, and I usually try to put them in whatever. I'm gonna put a little bit of walnuts as well on top of my whole wheat pancakes. And I'm gonna sweeten it with a little maple syrup. Now, if you don't wanna use that, you could use date syrup instead, or you could just eat it without a syrup on it if you prefer, but I'm just gonna put a little bit of maple syrup on top to give it a little more sweetness. And I have to taste this for you, you know, because I have to let you know whether it's delicious or not. And so, and they're very thick. And I'm gonna grab a berry in the process here. It is. It's delicious. There's something about that added cinnamon that really, to me, makes this a very good pancake recipe. So that would be my one of my breakfasts. So delicious. Now, lastly, I want to show you another breakfast idea that's pretty quick to put together. I'm gonna just make a really quick yogurt using tofu. Now, people do all kinds of yogurt recipes. Some people put probiotics in it. And yeah, you just find all kinds. You find some that have cashews in it. There's just a lot of different recipes. When I want yogurt, it's usually like spare the minute. Oh, I think I'll make me some yogurt. So I grab out a package. This was actually an extra firm organic tofu that I had in the fridge. And I usually buy these and have them handy for different recipes or to just add tofu to whatever meals I'm making. You could use soft tofu if you want to, but I typically keep the firm on hand. I don't press it before I use it for this yogurt. I just drain it and stick it down in my NutriBullet. Now, in addition to the tofu, I'm gonna add a tablespoon and a half of lemon. So I cut a lemon in half, and I've kind of got the bigger portion here. I think that will probably be about a tablespoon and a half. Again, I guess at a lot of things. So about a tablespoon and a half. And if you don't have fresh lemon, you certainly could use bottled lemon juice. I'm gonna put a teaspoon of vanilla extract in here. And again, I'm guessing about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then in addition to that, I'm gonna put a sweetener, and again, this could be your choice. You could use agave, you could use maple syrup, you could use date syrup, you could use date sugar, just whatever is your sweetener of choice. Again, I've got my agave sitting here at the table. So I'm gonna go ahead and add about a tablespoon, and I think I am gonna measure this, a tablespoon of maple syrup. I'm sorry, agave, but I could use maple syrup if I wanted to. All right, so that's all I have in there is my tofu, my vanilla, my lemon, and my sweetener of choice. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up and show you how beautifully smooth it is. And I'm just using my NutriBullet for this. So this is pretty thick, and when it gets refrigerated, it's going to be even thicker. So, you know, the next day you may want to thin it out a little bit with water. It just kind of depends on the consistency you want. I really like it about the thickness that it is right now. So let me show this to you. I'm just going to go like this so you can kind of see the thickness of it. So doesn't that look beautiful? So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of that in a bowl like I would for my breakfast. And the rest of it, I just store it in the fridge for tomorrow's breakfast or even for a snack. So this is my yogurt that I fixed. And I've got that tofu in there, which gives it some good protein. And I'm gonna, again, add berries because I love berries. There's really no need to add sweetener unless you want to, because remember we put a little sweetener in there. And then if I wanted to add some nuts on top, I could, or I happen to have some low-fat granola in a jar, imagine that. And I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of that on top. So let me give that a taste for you just to be sure that it tastes good. This time I'm gonna grab a blueberry in my bite. Very good. I love the texture of this. And again, if you taste it and you think that's really not sweet enough for me, put a little date syrup on top of it, or put a little agave or maple syrup, whatever you need to sweeten it just a little bit more if you need that. But the texture of it is creamy, and it's, to me, just the right thickness for a yogurt. And again, you're gonna find all kinds of recipes online for vegan tofu, and some people prefer to do the probiotic thing and, the longer process. Some people like to put cashews in it. However you want to do it is fine, but this one is fast. And like I said, when I get in the mood, I'm ready to fix it now. So I hope this was helpful. Stick around because I'm going to show you quickly how I put those wheat berries in my grain grinder and make whole wheat flour out of it. I'll show you that here at the end. But whether it's oat groats, whether it's vegan yogurt, whether it's whole wheat pancakes, whether it's avocado toast, or whether it's, some types of maybe Ezekiel cereal, or there's so many breakfasts that you can find as a plant-based eater that are healthy, they're nutritious, they make your body feel good. And I hope that you'll take advantage of those kind of recipes so that you'll be working more towards better health. So anyway, glad you joined me today. Just remember that there is power in your plate, and what you eat does indeed make a difference. See you next time. Hey, you did stick around to the end. Thanks so much. See you next time.